I'm going to be talking today about transformation. And I know we talk about it like it's a word, like it's a simple thing. Yeah, maybe you're like me who goes into transformational cycles kicking and screaming, resisting transformation because we don't know what's coming. It's really stepping off the edge of the world. And I often find myself being dragged into these transformational cycles instead of calmly, peacefully, gracefully floating into them. Let's be honest, I've gone through multiple cycles of transformation, and rarely, honestly, has it ever been easy, effortless, and certainly not graceful. And this may well be one of the main steps of transformation. So let's get into that. I'm Deirdre. I'm the author of Becoming Safely Embodied, Attachment-Based Yoga and Meditation for Trauma, and the co-author of Attachment Disturbances for Adults. This is the thing I love doing and talking about, is looking at how we can change these embedded, imprinted patterns that are so normal to us. And I've been doing this for over 30 years, and workshops, books, online courses all over the world. What I'm going to talk about is in our Safely Embodied Learning community recently, we began an exploration on conflict and repair. And it gave me a lot to think about. Conflicts I get into, how do I repair them? The conflicts I help other people get through and move through. And how do they repair them or not repair them? Where do they get stuck? And what I contrasted that with is how transformation is something that ideally is something that changes us for the better. So I began to think, well, what really creates transformation? That's what I began to look more deeply at. And I wanted to know, can we set up transformation so that it's smoother and that it doesn't come with any kind of disruption? Because I certainly know what it's been like to go through those cycles and be disrupted. Once we see what's there and we see that pattern, we can put a wedge into these unconscious operating patterns that occur. So I thought about it a lot, and I went back to some of the ancient wisdom traditions and looked at what they speak about transformation. And most of them agree there's about 4 stages to a transformational process. But remember, we don't transform until one of 2 things happens. Actually, let me draw it out like this, like that we rarely does transformation happen easily and effortlessly for us. Most of the time there's something that comes up that's hard. Let's say there's 2 ways in. One way in is we want it, we are willing, and then there's another way where we don't want it and we protest against it. We're upset about it. It shouldn't be like this. Life shouldn't be this hard. And what happens then is we enter into this process, and this might be really the first phase of it, where we are cycled into a vortex of confusing and disruptive. When we willingly engage, we're mesmerized, we're fascinated with, we really want to explore this. Yet there are times when we're not ready, we don't want the change, and yet something happens. I'm thinking about a friend of mine, actually, and this is why so much of this is up for me, is a friend of mine went about 6 months ago into the emergency room just to have a checkup because the doctors weren't open. It was on the weekend. And she was put into the hospital for a month while they discovered she had stage 4 cancer. And 6 months later, I just heard recently that she passed away. And I was lucky enough to see her recently, but she didn't expect it. It wasn't something that she said, I want this, I'm volunteering for it. It came to her and it disrupted her. Or let's say your partner falls in love with somebody else, or you put some money into something and that investment flops, or what happens? And what prepares us better? And even though I understand the stages of transformation, I still find myself having to calm and ease myself when I'm in the middle of this cycle. So the first phase, if we look at it, is something that we can understand intellectually. Like we know the map. It's It's clear. We understand the map. And the second phase might be more like, why is this important to us? What is this all about? Why are we willing to engage in it? What has us be willing to let go of being right about our stance, be open to it, let go of making others wrong? And so there's a meaning making in here, let's call it that. It's about meaning. Why am I doing this? What's the context that it provides? The third phase might be, in the traditions, they often talk about it as contemplation. In the Becoming Safely Embodied skills, we look at it as the parallel lives. How does this connect to our past? Our time capsules. In the wisdom traditions, they call it the kleshas, the wounds, the knots in our lives. We begin to look at how does this experience right now interact with how it impacted us in the past, and why is it loading up now, and why is there charge to it? That's the biggest thing, that there's usually charge to it. The fourth step is a time when we digest. We meditate on it. We link all these bits and pieces together and see, how is the past affecting us now? How do we choose to let it continue, right? There's a choice in it. There's a choice point. Do I want to have this? How am I going to allow this to change me? And basically it is, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be given this change? How do I want to use this to create even more meaning and contribute even more to life? So this is the whole process that happens, and it's not always easy. The more we know the process, the more we know the map, it's easier to understand, it's easier to undertake. I talk a lot about this in the Safely Embodied Transformational Map, but this I wanted to lay out as a stages of transformation. And I'm going to actually dive a little bit deeper into this in the conflict and repair retreat that I'm going to be doing. If you want to know more about this, if you want to know more about the conflict and repair retreat, make sure that you're on my email list, and that you can get to on dfay.com, safe guide, dfay.com/safe guide. Okay, I look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be really something I've been thinking a lot about and talking a lot with people, and certainly we've talked about it in the Safely Embodied Learning community, and so that's why I'm expanding on it and creating just a short 2-hour retreat, but some place where we can really sit with it and explore. So I look forward to seeing you there. I'm Deirdre Fay, and always love being with you.